right, hi everybody. It's great to be here. Great to be alive and be well today and see everybody and have this opportunity to share. So I'm going to let Rodney open us up with prayer and followed by a song.
You're going to sing?
Go ahead,
No, I'm
Rodney.
not going to say.
Oh, yeah, that would be wonderful. Rodney.
All right. I'll pray. Father Sky, Mother Earth, all our ancestors, all our relatives, we call to you at this time and we thank you. We thank you for this opportunity to join this most sacred circle, and we ask that you also join us so we may feel your presence and your guidance and your wisdom. Please fill our sister Susan with your spirit, help to channel that perfect message through her and help us to apply that message to our hearts and our lives. We love you and we thank you. Aho.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Rodney.
All yours, Susan.
Okay, thank you. You know, Rodney, I don't know if there's any copyright on that song when it comes time to, I guess we'll find out, huh?
That was beautiful.
All right, everybody. Last week, Saha Wynn she introduced us to this video, you know, about the spiritual gifts and senses and everything. And boy, we didn't get to see the video during the class, but when I watched it afterwards, it was like, many awakenings and new understandings. Many of these gifts that they talk about are deep within us throughout our life, beginning in our early years. And we just don't know how to define them, utilize them, and we may not develop a awareness or understanding of how they come to be until we're older. Everything we do it evolves around self-love, and I've been on that journey for many years. And with new self-love, I've really turned inward, for a relationship with my own soul. When I was in recovery, for alcoholism, it was about being in relationship with that inner child and healing that child through the younger years of unmet needs, violence, abuse, those kinds of things, and clearing through that wreckage. And that was sort of like refurbishing the soul. Mm-hmm. And then as I got older and began, I've got this, I began to refurbish my soul, not necessarily according to any certain book, but to develop it from within. So what I'd like to talk to today is about the senses of the soul. We're always working with our senses of the mind and body. And that's your touch, smell, taste, sight, hearing. Those are all our faculty senses. But we have senses of the soul. And those are the senses we take for granted. They come and go, they work, they're on and off. It's not the same as my eyesight or my hearing. If I lose my hearing, I know it. If I lose my eyesight, I know it right now. But the senses of the soul, I have to have a deeper attachment to my soul, a deeper connection, a deeper love for my soul in order to constantly be aware of them. Okay. So the senses of the soul are intuition. And part of that is like a working part of the brain. But I don't get it separate from my soul. The intuitive knowing. In order to have that, you needed the divine connection to your soul. Years past, you needed your divine connection would be external. It would be a place, it would be a symbol. It would be, things like that. And it would bounce back and forth. So today there is like equality in the love of nature, people, and my soul, because there's a unity. But it took a while to get there. Our soul speaks to us and comes to us when our mind is quiet, and our intuition, it comes from deep within us, and it's a working part of the brain. And it doesn't necessarily come from outside sources. I didn't just get a flash of what my buddy was thinking over here. You know, that's telepathic. That's a different thing. You know, intuition gives me a moment of knowledge in the very moment that I need it. And it is a working part of the brain, but if you're not connected to your soul, it can go on the fritz. Okay, the second one is peace. Peace is a sense of the soul. It's it's an internal balance within us that encompasses body, mind, and spirit. But when our soul is at peace, we're not full of inner conflict, and our it's our moral compass is at peace. It's been developed. It's not fragmented. It all comes together. When we're at peace, our soul leads us to a peaceful reality. And when we're in that peace, we have self-respect, we have self-love, we have love for others. And so that's a sense that we can we walk with and live with in every moment. The next one is foresight. I was like, well, isn't foresight, just being intuitive? Well, it's not. Foresight is your mind and your soul working together. It's not really just being psychic. A lot of people talk about, oh, I'm psychic, I'm psychic, I'm psychic. Well, foresight is a gift of the soul. It is the ability to connect all the dots of every situation and have a visionary answer for what you need to do. It is your guidance tower. It's your guidance receptor. Many visions come from here. And so don't freak out when you get them, and they will come to you spontaneously. So it is a sense of your soul that brings this to you. That's why some of these things are very difficult to utilize external resources. Okay. The next sense of the soul is trust. And, the trust is to speak to our own higher power, who we choose. Some people call God, some people call Great Spirit. People choose different labels, but we communicate with that higher spirit, and we communicate with our soul. I have learned to practice my Thanksgiving meditation, thanking my heart for still working through all of the things that it's been through. And, like my liver, all the different parts of my body, and thanking my soul for being with me and still helping me and guiding me, even through the worst of times, and bringing me forward and forward and forward. So we learn this, you know, God is part of our soul. So that's where that trust comes. We learn to listen to that inner voice. It's a deep inner knowing within us. And I trust it. You know, I don't get on the phone and call everybody else and say, hey, what do you think? You know, I trust it. I trust that inner voice. Trust it. And the other sense of the soul is empathy. Okay. Empathy is used really, out there today, but it is a sense of the soul. It depends on where you hang out. Many recovery support systems say, "Oh, you're just sick. That's just codependency. That's just from hanging out with addicts, and you just gotta grow up and get a grip and stuff like that." And it's because it's been taken to extremes in many, many areas of life. But empathy is a true gift of the soul, and it is the ability to sense and have an understanding of the feelings of others. And really, that's it. I mean, you can come up with a whole litany for it. Oh, you can feel feelings, and you're just a feeler and a refeeler, and there's all kinds of stuff that goes with it. But that's not the soul. That's everybody this up here spreading that all around. But is it to have a true compassion and sense, a deep sense and understanding of the person's feeling. And there is a distinction in that compared to all the stuff you hear out there. With empathy, we not only have that for other people, but we need it for ourselves. And it helps us to attend and take care of the deep feelings that we have within us, as well as help others. See, we have to do both sides of the coin. I can't just help others and not take care of myself. See, that's short circuit living, There's a burnout ready to happen, So it's important to have that empathy for my own soul, my own body, my own mind, my own spirit, as well as everyone else. And I need to keep it simple because it is a soul sense. And all the other, readings and crap and opinions and all that, let all of that go. Don't get too wrapped up in that. If you're called a sissy, so be it. So be it. Because I want it to, it really is a sense of the soul. And we need it. And if the rest of the collective had a dose of it in its healthy presentation, I think we would be a little bit better to each other, But empathy is a sense of the soul. So kind of like how do we get these senses? Are we born with them? Do we create them? Can we master them? And I was born with some of them. I just didn't know what they were called. And this does not all these senses of the soul do not, technically classify you as a psychic or anything. They classify you as a whole loving person, you know? And so if you have some psychic abilities, hey, that's extra. This here is just the foundation. So how do we tap into these senses and use them, recognize them, use them to our benefit? We've been using a lot of them. Most of us here have been utilizing some of them. We all know this, it happens with prayer and meditation of the person's choice. There's no certain way, there's no certain, your God isn't any better than my God. There's no, it's prayer and meditation from the soul, that commitment, how we talk to God and how we listen. Praying is when we ask, meditation is when we listen, and that's how our trust is developed. We so if we're quiet, we can get that. We can inspire ourselves. And by that, I mean learning. We can study from books, videos, do different developmental things. We can journal. Journaling doesn't work too well for me, but it's good to have a journal so you can make some notes just about experience, whether they be visions, uh, locutions, visual, whatever sense you may receive. And just start saying no to things that are destructive to your soul, and say yes to things that are joy, that bring you joy. There comes a time in life we all have that spell where we work in the sad zone and we try and help and we contribute in that way, and then there comes a time when we rise out of that and our soul has risen a little bit and we're walking in the joy zone. Get out in nature, commune with nature, speak with nature. It really awakens your soul. It comforts. It is a expression of love. Take an interest in something internal, like painting, a hobby, a music, not just listening to music, but like playing a musical instrument of some kind or whatever. Get a couple of sticks and bang on the wall or whatever. Anything that will express your soul. I've tried and developed a few things over the years, but I started out, it was I got my bucket list going, and I went back to college for music. I mean, it was something I wanted to do back in the 70s when I graduated from high school, but it was so damn hard. I was just so lady going to school for music, but I did a couple of years of it and it was really interesting, but and then Chiming, you got to get down. You got to go sit with daddy, honey. Go sit with daddy. But it's that creative aspect. I do a lot of sewing. I do different things that way. And I think I'm going to try some painting, some, picture painting, something, because it is soul expressive. And you can choose anything you want, anything want to try um, is good. Um, what else did I hear? Practice gratitude. We've all been through that. Think positive. We're all at that place now. Um, the other thing is just to sit and daydream. Have you ever been outside like in nature or just kind of daydream? And our soul will speak to us during this time. And it will show us, many things about ourselves, about others, about our life, you know. Um, so that daydreaming. Um, and the other thing is just be in the moment, be present. We're living in this very, very moment. And so we're always, I want to always be connected. I always want to have my mind connected to my soul, I don't want to be fragmented. I had a lot of years I was fragmented. Half of me was over here, I was running over here. I couldn't have told you nothing by the end of the day. And the other thing is really pay attention. When I'm present, when I'm in this present moment, I'm paying attention to what I am thinking, what I am feeling, who I'm speaking with, and that is a good time to listen to that soul and see if we're being nudged in a certain direction, pulled away in a different direction. That's when we can get some of that information and be happy. Um, um, and of course, we can smudge and purify ourselves and our home and kind of ground ourselves and protect ourselves from negative influences or connections that are unhealthy, that kind of thing. Um, and another thing is like we need to be patient and good to ourselves as we practice taking care of our soul, loving our soul, loving ourselves and loving others and loving all of creation. I mean, we will have bad days and bad moments and areas where we fall short. But today I am committed, even if I make mistakes, even if I, just fall on my butt or whatever, I'm still going to be here for me. I'm not going to melt down. I might call a friend or two and say, hey, you wouldn't believe this, but because we're all human and we're living here, we're not, we might be close to the veil, but we're not there yet, so we're going to fall short. And being consistent that way, that is a form of trust. It's a commitment of trust to my soul and to myself. Let's see, what else? Oh, yeah, I did have something. You know, how does my soul speak to me? That's why it's so important for me to be present, you know. And mind you, I am speaking all on this strictly on faculty alone. Other tools available that may connect us to our soul, the divination tools, all that kind of stuff. That's a separate thing. That is an external tool. Those don't apply here. That's just a different option. We can talk about that at another time. I mean, people, will ask lots of questions about pendulums and tarot cards and, tea leaves and mushrooms and, all that kind of stuff. We can utilize those to get a response from our soul. Whether it be a vision or a locution, some foresight, but we don't need it. When we are connected and fully embraced in our soul, those tools are out there. We need to work the tools in here. So how do our senses speak to us? And by God, I'll control it. I'll have my vision when I want it. And, I expect to hear a voice, right now. And, I'm going to dream that up. You ain't. No, the thing up here does not have the final say. Our soul is the higher power. So the senses speak to us. Our intuition is that small, still voice that nags us. Hey, get up. Do this. Get this done. Do it this way. Hey, call so-and-so. See how they're doing. Maybe you shouldn't do that. That small, still voice. The second one is like a gut feeling. A gut feeling. It's a sensation in my stomach, or the hair comes up on the back of my neck, Pay attention. I need to be looking around. I need to be listening. I need to be looking at everything. The other thing, the other one is, it's really, I used to thought it was just external circumstances is, the hair on your arm stands up and you get goosebumps and stuff like that. It's like, oh, it must be cold out. No, that is a sense from the soul. And that means there's something going on around us, near us, and will be in us if we're not paying attention. So that's a sense. Oh, okay. One of the things is pain in a specific area of our body. And it gets our attention. It grabs us. And that's when we need to settle down. Settle down, whatever it is that we're doing. Settle down and get quiet. Go through all the steps to see what is going on within me and around me. These things get my attention. And then I can, the pain might settle down. I may start to recognize what's going on around me. Sometimes it's just too much stuff going on around me and I need to move. Move your feet and go somewhere else. Or this right here just isn't right for you, So, that's okay too. The other thing is recurring thoughts. A theme. Not an obsession, like I gotta have a drink. I gotta have a drink. But recurring thoughts. They can be anything really. I remember they can be premonitions where you'll have a thought of something happening somewhere else in the present moment, or a thought of something that may happen a half hour from now. Those kinds of things. Recurrent thoughts about something. It's that inner peace will come to you. Our When we have that inner peace, our soul is letting us know that we are thinking and being in our highest good. In our highest good. So that's one thing. The other thing is synchronicity. Anybody get those numbers? Some people get numbers, 1111, wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning every day, and all these things. Those are just little tidbits from our soul. We can look that up and see what it means, and see what other people think about it. I mean, and then there are times a animal may come to us, flowers, anything from nature in a visual sense, or we'll be outside and the woodchuck shows up at the outdoor table, starts eating a nut, and I'm like, oh man, Jesus. But we'll look up that animal. What's special about that animal? Grasshopper, this or that. Many of the traits of that animal can teach us a lot. And just the blessing of seeing flowers, I had planned on seeing those. I almost missed them. So, and the biggest one is dreams. Dreams, dreams, dreams. We go to sleep at night trying to get some rest. You ever have those nights where you dream all night, and you travel and you're in other places, well, we're supposed to be sleeping, but our soul is still speaking to us, and we are physically sleeping, but our soul is still working. Dreams for me have always been problem solution dreams. Many solutions to problems and stuff like that. So they've always been helpful. Future dreams, had many future dreams. And there's all kinds of dreams. We experience all kinds of dreams. And if you remember them, that's good. But lots of times we don't remember them. But whatever you remember, write it down. Just take a few notes and write it down and see if it, means, anything. And the other thing I had is visions. And sometimes we have visions for many reasons, many different reasons. Many times they're and they are from the soul, and they can be creative. They're not necessarily yes or no answers. Many times we demand like yes and no answers, but visions are very helpful too. But we can't just dial them up. And this is one of the things with the senses of the soul is we have to stay tuned up all the time. Otherwise, like I say, I'm relying on my half-assed senses today. I I was just so they are very powerful, but visions will come when we are in a state of peace, a state of trust, of forthright mind. That's when they come. That's when they come. I really, and physical and emotional sensations, and I don't want to say hearing voices because that can go off the cliff real quick. But it is a sense of the soul. And it's not, there is a distinction between hearing voices from external voices and voices from my soul giving me, Jimming, honey, go see daddy. I'm busy. Voices from our soul arms us with information that we need or that we've been seeking or some information I'd rather not have. Someone say, but it comes from our soul. It doesn't come from other people. Like so-and-so down the road or, a friend over there that doesn't like me. That's not from the soul. That's from the mind. Okay. So, but voices from our soul, guide us, direct us. It will always help us. And the trust part of this within us is that my soul will never give voice to me to harm other people in any way or myself. And a vision will not violate the soul. It will not violate myself. It will not violate other people or the collective as a whole. So that deep trust, when that trust is in place, we can trust if we hear a voice. We can trust if we have a vision. We can trust our dreams because they come from a place of love, understanding, empathy. They come from a good place. I don't think I have anything else to add on that. Carwyn's sleeping.
Love.
Just focusing on your words.
Yeah.
Goes out the outside, focusing on your words.
There are so many gifts of the soul. Our soul is very, very sensitive. And our brain is conditioned to what we deal with out here. But our soul is divine, and so the senses are different, and we need both to operate. I can't just operate my soul And if I just rely on my own understanding, well, that's half-assed too. So I think that's all I have. And I'll answer any questions if I can. If I can't, maybe Sahawin can. So I'll open the floor for, questions.
Well, look, I want to say that you did a beautiful job. I learned a
Thank
lot.
you, Sahawin.
I learned a lot from that. I was not sleeping like you thought. I listened to every bit of it, and I'm very proud. I'm very proud you brought in a very good class today, and you defined the soul really good. I had never separated it like that, so that helped me. So I'm sure it helped others. So I just wanted to tell you that, and I'm gonna leave it at that and let everybody else talk.
Thank you, Sahawin. Come on, is there somebody out there as crazy as I am?
I thought you tied everything together really well because, in essence, we're not human beings having a spiritual experience. We're spiritual beings having a human experience. And the peace comes when we start connecting through meditation. And when we start connecting to our divinity, we start having empathy. And when we start having empathy, everything starts falling into place, and we judge less, and we're guided by our soul. And then the more we walk that way, the closer we come to our divinity, the more we're able to walk that way. So it's like you put them all together, and when you apply all those sorts of things, you will see the rose, you won't see the thorns. And we won't judge our brothers and sisters because we're all connected. It was really very beautiful, Susan, and thank you.
Thank you, Rodney. Anybody else? No.
So I hear Sherry's volunteering to talk next Sunday.
No, she's not.
Are you really?
No.
Well, that would be wonderful.
No, my stuff is more educational as far as like teaching anatomy and physiology. You guys don't want to learn that.
Well, who knows? One day you might. We might even get Josh up here to teach one day. He's a pretty good teacher too. He has a lot of knowledge. I'm glad everybody could join the class. It was very wonderful, Susan. You did an amazing job.
You
And
did. That was
thank you.
awesome.
Thank you. Jim was going to close in prayer, but he's not here. So would anyone else like to close us in prayer? No volunteers, huh?
well, we'll let Rodney do it. Rodney does a good job.
Yeah, I'm going to ask him. I'm
RedBird,
gonna
it was a
ask
very
him.
nice class. I liked it. You touched so many topics at once. It's kind of like trying to narrow on one.
Yeah, now you're gonna have to.
Questions, it's taking in all this. It's like it's not an appetizer, it's a meal. So I gotta take in one at a time.
Yeah,
Digest
you're,
it.
Still
you're gonna have to go home and digest it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But then when you do that, you will see how it is your soul senses have been working within you at various levels, not only in this moment, but in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And by your commitment to yourself and your soul, you have a trust that all of those senses, they're going to be on steroids in the future. But it just takes a while to think about it and see how they have been in our lives. And we have all of these before we get to those gifts in the video that Dolores Cannon spoke of, these spiritual gifts that people get, you know. And these spiritual gifts are like, I don't know how to describe this, but they're expansions of the senses of our soul. Does that make sense, Shahwin?
Mhm.
That's a
You
good way
know,
to explain it.
we're all just talking normal people now. You know, these senses of the soul are for everyone. All of
Mhm.
us have these. These are our basic senses. I mean, your psychic gifts are above and beyond this. So, Win will be talking about that. And we'll recognize some of that too when she starts teaching about that.
Yeah.
So many times we have sold ourselves short on the senses of the soul, you know, or took them for granted. So, yeah, when you think about it a little bit, Sherry, you'll be like, hey, I'm doing pretty good, you know?
And go back and watch that video if you didn't watch it last week. That'll help a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of information in it. And I really like Dolores Cannon.
Mhm.
When I first saw her, you know, she like reminded me of my old foster mother or something, you know? She just looks like this old lady singing in a church choir. And, and then all of a sudden she breaks out with this, well, the energy of this and the essence of that and this over here. And she just blows your mind. And she just looks like this little old granny, you know. It's like I enjoyed it, but I was able to see that everybody has some psychic gifts.
Mhm.
And um, it just depends on how developed they are, you know. Um, but true gifts come from the inside. The gifts of the soul come from the inside. A lot of other skills, um, divination skills, divination tools to get answers and stuff like that. That's an outward source and it takes some skill. That's not your senses of your soul. You gotta read tarot cards and tree leaves and all this and that. You gotta, use a pendulum and do this and do that. Well, that takes a skill too, you know. Um, so that's something different. It's a different expertise. It's
That's actually tuning into the outer side, the outer vibrations, instead of going into the inner vibrations of yourself.
okay. That's
is-
what it's called then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you need, you need a knowledge base to go with it. I mean, you can't have just a deck of cards with a bunch of pictures on it and say, well, oh yeah, the sun's going to come up tomorrow. And I'm going to take a walk out in the forest. And, I mean, you gotta learn this stuff, it takes both inner and outer.
Mm-hmm.
So to expand on it. But any rate, anyone else? Elizabeth?
I liked when you mentioned about nature. Excuse me. Haven't talked much today, I guess. I know when I'm out in nature and I get that sense of peace and that feeling of I can relax out here, you know. It's the trees that talk to me. It's the plants that talk to me, and I can feel them. I can feel their energies with my hands.
Mm-hmm.
I can run my hands over the grass or the flowers, and I get little sensations back. Little, they're not electric really, but you can feel little sensations back to you. They talk back to us. They are here for us, and they understand that we're, you know, we're human and they're not, but they have their own they're sentient beings in their way, right? And
Yes.
I really depend on Mother Nature to help me through hard times or just surviving, you know.
Yes. The trees have an empathy. And I know Sherry talks to all the plants, and I know the plants talk to her. Bring me home, bring me home.
Yeah, networks around here too.
Yeah. You know, yeah,
And animals too, I think.
animals, you know.
Yeah, I have a real rapport with animals, and you can tell when somebody does. They just kind of come to them, or, you know, that's just another part of it. But that's your true self showing through to them,
Mm-hmm.
and they see that, you know.
Yeah.
I have to remember to say hi to the people attached to the
I know.
if they're on a leash.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that it? We covered it. Josh, anything?
I liked how you talked about trusting the voice and the visions and the dreams when there's no like violation of others or self. That that's an anchor for me, just with what I'm going through and a lot of attacks. So just knowing that the true soul is always sanctified in that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Good. Yeah. Yeah. That's, you know, so I can trust my soul, you know,
Right.
and you can too. There will never be a voice that will violate,
Right.
you know, recommendation to violate any, not only myself, others, or all the natural laws within creation. You know,
Right.
so yeah, it's safety, it's trust, it's trust.
Yeah.
All right, Rodney, would you take us out in prayer, please?
Absolutely.
Everybody.
Thank you again, Susan. Father Sky, Mother Earth, all our ancestors, all our relatives, we call to you at this time and we thank you. We thank you for this beautiful message that you channeled through our sister about the senses of our soul. We thank you for teaching us how we can walk closer to our true divinity and recognize those beautiful voices and insights and wisdom that we all have deep within us. We just need to remember, we need to focus on your spirit, your love, and your divinity. And we ask that you help us in these endeavors. We ask that you help us to learn and to remember our birthright, our divine birthright. We love you. We ask you watch over each of us during this week and help us to walk in a way that is pleasing in your sight. We love you and we thank you. Aho.
Oh,
Amen. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for listening.
thanks, Susan.
I love you. Yeah.
See y'all next week.